If you want to get high paying clients, you've got to stop being so selfish. In fact, you probably don't even realize you're being selfish. But if you're serious about growing your business, you want to pay close attention to what I'm about to share. As today, I'm going to show you how a simple shift can get you 5 to 10 high paying clients in the next couple of months, no matter what service or niche you're in. I'm going to walk you through the exact sales system I've personally used over the past 8 years to close tens of millions of dollars. And I'll give you a proven framework that will make staying consistent a new daily norm. Imagine waking up in the morning, opening your laptop and seeing a payment notification for $10,000 from your client. How would that make you feel? Now, this isn't just a pipe dream. This is the reality for hundreds of people I've helped achieve this. And you don't have to take my word for it, because now you're going to see it for yourself. I'm Platten, and for nearly a decade, I've been in the trenches building an online service business, Affluent.co. A business has generated well over $10 million. But before we dive in, let me be clear, I am not here to sell you on a dream today. I'm here to give you the actual map that will help you build a real business so you can scale to 6 figures and beyond. This might just be the most important video you ever watch. So if you're ready for some hard truths and an actionable strategy, and you're ready to actually put in the work, let's get started. The real reason most people struggle to sign clients is because they are too selfish. I know that's a bold statement, and you might be thinking, how can I be selfish? I'm the one putting myself out there. But hear me out. The entrepreneurship space is full of content telling people to be more selfish, to put yourself first. But when it comes to building a successful service business, unfortunately, this mindset is what is killing all of your chances. Think about it. When you're in a sales meeting with a potential client, where is your focus? Are you thinking about how you can solve that client's problems? Or are you thinking about closing a deal as fast as possible and getting paid? You see, every time you walk into a sales meeting focusing on what you can get out of it, you're repelling potential clients, and they can sense your selfishness from a mile away, and it's costing you big time. Now, believe it or not, the solution is actually pretty simple. You just have to be selfless. You need to stop focusing on what you can get and start focusing on what you can give. Because the more value you provide, the more money you will make. And it's not about you, it's about them, their problems, their desires, their success. And I know this because I've been there myself. If I take you back to 2017, I was a selfish 22-year-old who had enough of the position he was in life, and I was working this full-time office job, miserable, living for the weekends, and I felt guilt every single day that I wasn't living up to my potential. And after feeling miserable for months, I started looking for a way out. And I actually stumbled upon something called social media marketing, or SMMA as it was known back then. And I decided to try and go and get my first client. And within just a week, I was sat in front of a local restaurant owner, Jane, and I was a nervous mess. I remember being 15 minutes into the meeting, feeling so much friction, and Jane was giving me all these short answers, and she wasn't even paying attention. In fact, she even stopped me mid-sentence and went to make a coffee. And I was sat there, desperate, thinking, what am I doing wrong? And it dawned on me that I was going about this meeting backwards. I was trying to sell Jane on a solution without actually figuring out that the solution was right for her. It was a woman with a struggling business facing real problems that she wanted to solve. And the last thing she needed was a young, naive individual who didn't even care about her situation. But somehow, I needed to show her that I understood those problems more than she did, so she could actually trust my solution and buy from me. Now, by some miracle, I turned that meeting around and I secured my first client for £800. In fact, here's the original contract. It's dated December 2017. At this point, it's pretty bashed up, but I keep it as a daily reminder of how clueless I was back then. And sure, I had secured a client, but it wasn't because of any brilliant strategy. It was just pure luck on my side. And everything was pointing towards the fact that I needed a mentor. And so I did my research and I made a decision to invest $5,000 into a mentor that could teach me a unique sales system. And to be honest, I was terrified at the time. That was a huge amount for me. But I took the leap of faith because I know it's either that or going back to that stinky ass office job. And I went all in. I studied that system like my life depended on it, which it kind of did at the time. And within just 3 months after speaking to Jane, that same system allowed me to hit $10,000 a month. It completely shifted my perspective, and over the years, I've optimized it to perfection. And it's something I now call the CPS strategy, a system that's generated tens of millions of dollars since. Now, it's my firm belief that this CPS strategy is the difference between those that succeed as service business owners and those that fail. CPS stands for conversational problem solving. It's an approach that puts the client's needs at the center of every interaction. You see, an agency is nothing more than a business that provides value through services. It's one person, which is you, that adds value to another person, which is your prospect, and that value usually comes in two forms, either time or money. Now, most agency owners opt for services that make their prospects more money, which is the most desired form of value. But here's the catch. Those who want to make more money are also very good at protecting the money they've got. So in order to make someone give you their hard-earned dollar, they have to be 100% confident that they're going to see a return. Now, most agency owners think the solution to this is a big, bold offer. But what happens when you bite off more than you can chew? You end up burning both your reputation and your self-esteem, which is happening to so many right now. This leads to ridiculous work hours, making stupid mistakes, and ultimately leaving you questioning whether you're even cut out to be a service business owner. And secondly, how do you even know that's exactly what the client needs? Imagine going to a doctor who prescribes you medication without asking you a single question. Would you trust him? You'd be a fool to do so. And your prospects are no different. So why would you expect them to say yes to your solution before you diagnose their problem? So how do you do that effectively, even if you have no sales or marketing experience? This is where the CPS strategy comes in. It's a 4-stage process that turns selling into a genuine conversation. Attention, identify, solve, and close. Let's start with attention. This is where you break the ice, build rapport, and get the prospect to open up. It's not about diving straight into your pitch. It's about making the prospect feel like an individual. So do your homework. Look up their socials and find something unique that you can personally connect with them. Mention a recent holiday they went on, a hobby they have, or just simply relate to their location. Say something like, "I saw you just got back from a trip to Bali. How was that?" This instantly lowers their guard and it shifts the tone from sales call to friendly chat. Now, once the ice is broken, it's time to take control of the conversation. Because let's be real, every sales call has someone in control, and that needs to be you. And the way you do this is by telling them exactly how the meeting is going to go. So the way this meeting is going to go is I'm going to start by asking you some questions about your business. I want to identify the biggest problems you're facing right now. Then if I can help you, and only if I can, I'll explain how I can help. And at the end of the call, you can decide whether or not you even want me to. Sound good? This immediately puts you in complete control of the meeting, and it allows the prospect to know exactly what to expect. Next, and most important of all, it's stage number 2, identify. This is all about genuine, selfless conversation. By the end of this stage, your prospect should believe entirely that you are the correct person to solve their problems. And to get there, you're going to focus on 3 key things: their current situation, desired situation, and their need for help. For current situation, ask them questions that help you understand exactly where they are at right now in relation to your service. For example, if you're offering a lead generation service, ask them, "Can you walk me through your current lead generation process?" And don't stop there. You must not stop at the first answer. To show someone you genuinely care, you have to show genuine interest. If you ask a question and just accept the first answer, you're not having a conversation, you're hosting an interview. Imagine telling a friend about a holiday you just went on and how great it was, and they respond, "Oh, cool, so what are you doing this weekend?" Would you feel like they were even listening? If they were interested, they would have asked you a couple of questions about the holiday. And you should do the same for your prospects. Now, you don't just want to ask about what they're currently doing, but you want to ask about their current revenue level as well. You must understand the exact position the business is in. And only when we have a good understanding of their current situation is it time to learn their desired situation. Be direct with them. What are your goals for the business? How big do you want to take this? You're not just looking for their financial goals here, but also their personal goals and how this impacts their life in general. Now you know where they are and where they want to go. This means we have identified the gap. The gap between their current state and their desired one. And what does this gap represent? The third point, their need for help. And we bring attention to this by saying something like, "So, John, You mentioned that you're currently making 50k a month, but you're struggling to consistently generate more leads. You would like to scale to 200k a month and not have to worry about finding clients so you can expand for another warehouse. Tell me what's stopping you from getting there on your own. Now this does 3 things. It shows that you've been listening, it forces them to confront the fact that they can't solve this problem alone, and it opens them up to ask you for help. And again, don't just accept the first answer here. Ask probing questions and let the prospect sit in the pain of not being able to do this themselves. The more pain they feel, the more desire they will have for you to help them remove it. And the prospect will now be in a position of feeling understood, but they're also in a place of pain and understanding that they need help. And the more they acknowledge the problem, the stronger their desire will be for you to provide the solution. Now that they understand the need for help, it's time for stage 3, solve. The prospect can't only believe that we are the correct person, but they must believe we have the correct solution too. So make a short value statement that speaks to their specific needs. Something like, great, so I help hair transplant clinics get more patients by building automated sales systems. And then say nothing. No details, just let this sit. They will then ask you how it works. And they need to pull the information from you, not the other way around. Now most agency owners make the mistake of hiding behind a sales presentation at this stage. But what they don't realize is that the prospect isn't even interested in half the things on that presentation. It's like going on a date, being asked what you do outside of work, and you answering, well, I like to go out for long walks. And by the way, I'm also an accountant, and I drive a Mercedes, and I own my own home. I also have a dog. 10 minutes later, your date is escaping through the window. And it's no different with your prospects. The less you give them, the more interested they become. And this will go on until they have sold themselves. And the only question they have left to ask is, how much does it cost? This is your permission to go in for stage 4, the close. The client quite literally asked you to close them, so you are in full control. Yet most people prompt the close and they say something like, so should we go through price? This puts the prospect in a position of power. But if you're the one being asked for price, the client is admitting to you that you're not just the right person to solve their problems, but your product is the right solution. So it's not true that selling starts after the price is stated. That's completely backwards. The sale happens during identify and is cemented during solve. The close is simply your opportunity to tie up loose ends and run through the next steps. And if you follow the CPS strategy correctly, you could be the biggest introvert out there and still outperform the most confident salespeople who don't use a strategy like this. In fact, I taught this exact strategy to Nicholas Larson from Larson Digital, and he came to me when he was struggling to sign his first few clients for his ad agency, and he was convinced it was because his offer wasn't strong enough. He was pretty demoralized, but after listening to his calls, it was so clear to me what the issue was. He was spending all his time trying to sell the client instead of letting the client sell themselves. And so I taught him the CPS strategy. I showed him the exact words to say at every stage of this conversation, from attention to identify to solve and of course to close. And in just over 12 months, he scaled his business to over $100,000 a month. Now his new confidence has since allowed him to scale so much higher, and he's worked with some of the world's biggest online brands. And his biggest concern now is choosing where he wants to travel next with his girlfriend. But let me be brutally honest with you. Even Nicholas now is not closing every single client he speaks to, even with the perfect sales system. Realistically, at the start, you'll close 1 in 4. So how can you stay consistent enough over time to keep growing? Look, I know the cycle all too well. You set these goals for yourself. I want to own a 10k a month agency in the next 3 months. You lay out the path to get there, you make the commitment to yourself, and for a week, you're a new person. You're getting up earlier, you're studying, you're making calls after work, you're even booking meetings, and then, one day, you oversleep your alarm, and you miss a study session. 1 day turns into 2, 2 days into 2 weeks, 2 weeks into 2 months, and the next time you wake up, you realize you are back where you started. Actually a few steps back because you've knocked your confidence in your ability to actually stick it out. This is what I call false start syndrome. The worst thing about it is every time you go through it, it becomes harder and harder to start again. And some people even end up just accepting their fate and renounce themselves to a life of, frankly, mediocrity, because that's easier to accept than failure. So what is the solution to this false start syndrome? First, forget about intensity. Many make the decision to start a business, and then from the very next day, they're watching hours of content, they're building a website, and they're creating a lead list, reaching out to leads, and then they wonder why the week later they are mentally exhausted. And so they take a break for a couple days. And that's the first sign of the false start syndrome, because that couple day break is what signals the brain you're fine where you are. Instead, focus on consistency. Prioritize just showing up every day and complete the small amount of key tasks required to make long-term impact. Scrap trying to do a bunch of things at once and just try to reach out to 20 people. It's like deciding you want to get fit and then going from 0 to 5 days a week, lifting heavy in the mornings and then a run every evening. You're going to burn out pretty quickly, and the result is probably a pulled hamstring and a twisted ankle. So you've got to focus on integrating this new habit into your life first. And then, as you become more confident, increase intensity over time. That's where the real gains are made. This is a marathon, not a sprint. And I don't mean this like it's going to take you years to start getting results. Far from it. In fact, if you stay consistent, you'll sign a client in a matter of days and hit your first 10K month in a matter of months. Now, I know what you're thinking. Jordan, saying all of this and actually doing it are two different things. And that, my friend, is why we have to dig further. You see, there is only one thing that can keep you consistent for longer periods of time: accountability. And more specifically, getting an accountability partner. Nothing motivates quite like shared commitment. When you partner with someone who's invested in your success, you're not just accountable to yourself, you're accountable to them. It's like having a personal trainer at the gym. They're there to push you, to celebrate your wins, and keep you going when motivation drops. This external force can be the difference between giving up and pushing through to success. This is what happened with Ibrahim, who came to us whilst he was a window cleaner and frankly wanted out. He was struggling to stay consistent until we assigned Ollie from our team as an accountability partner for his agency. Soon after, he signed 5 clients in just 1 month. Or Nicholas, who came to us when he was in a corporate 9 to 5, but of course he wanted more freedom. Now we assigned Yanis from our team as an accountability partner for his agency, and he scaled from 0 to $21,000 a month just 6 months later. That's the power of a good accountability partner. So if you aren't successful right now, it's probably because you're acting selfish, you don't have a good sales system, and you don't have accountability. But there's also something else you're missing that most people completely overlook. You need a map. Let me give you an example. Imagine you were to go fishing. You rent out a boat, you buy the rod that everyone else seems to have, and you go out into the sea and just cast your rod in, hoping for a bite. But you don't catch anything. It's because you don't actually know where the fish are. So you go out to where all the other boats are, thinking surely that's where the fish are, at the popular spots, only to be fighting with everyone else for seemingly not that many fish anyway. And then in the distance, you spot a lone fisherman with a strange looking fishing rod, pulling in one after the other. Then he takes off to another spot, the same thing, one fish after another. And you wonder what he knows that you don't. You see, only people that have fished the sea for years finding out where the fish are have created their own map. But because so much has gone into finding these locations, that map is very closely guarded. This is exactly the same in business. Most people flock to the popular locations to get clients. They use the same strategies as everyone else with the same messaging because they presume just because that's what everyone else is doing, it must be right, and then wonder why they're still struggling. So since all of these maps are hidden by insiders, how are you supposed to get one for yourself? That's where Agency Launch comes in. Agency Launch is a brand new 6-month online mentorship program that will take you from no experience whatsoever to starting your own service-based business, signing at least 5 clients in your first 3 months, and many do it much sooner than that. And what it really is an insider's map. And it starts off with accountability. We assign you a personal mentor who will guide you through the process, making sure you have unbreakable foundations, and also help you identify your dream clients, write an irresistible offer, and build a completely bespoke sales strategy for your unique business. We'll then hold your hand through weekly one-to-one calls until you sign your first or next 5 clients. And that's not a prediction, it's a guarantee. And if that's not enough for you, you'll also gain access to our brand new online program, which teaches every detail from getting clients to delivering results and even bringing in a team to free up your time. Plus, you'll gain access to our private community of agency owners, where you'll be able to engage with everyone else and join daily live group coaching calls whenever you need extra support. In the last 7 years, we've helped more than 4,500 people not just start, but scale their own agencies. Over 10,000 successful client signings, hundreds of six-figure success stories, and we're just getting started. But here's the thing, it's not about the numbers. The reason we have endless 5-star reviews and testimonials pouring in is simple. Our process works every single time. It's like paying a master fisherman to come with you and buy your boat, choose your rod, and set up your line, and then take you to the best spots, but not just once, every week. And he guarantees you'll catch. It's the ultimate unfair advantage. So if you're serious about taking control into your own hands, I'd like to invite you to schedule a call with our success team. On the call, we'll learn more about your current situation, and if we think the program is a good fit for you, we'll offer you a space to join us. And as this is an actual mentorship program, spaces are limited. This is your chance to make a real change, to build a business that gives you the freedom to live life on your own terms. Want to stop working a job you hate? You can. Want to make where you travel next your biggest concern? You can. Want to get an office and build a massive team? You can. Want to get paid $10,000 in a single month and actually feel proud of yourself? You can. But only if you take the leap of faith, like I did 7 years ago. So are you going to keep watching from the sidelines, or are you going to take action? The decision is yours. Cheers.